just went live on YouTube for the first time ever with Chef AJ.
Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Today, we're going to have a wonderful cooking demo. We're going to learn how to make a cake without sugar using the fruit, the whole fruit, and nothing but the whole fruit. If you know me at all, you know I've been sugar-free for almost 20 years now, and I even was a pastry chef at a Los Angeles restaurant for 5 years using only dates. So when I heard about today's product, which I'm going to introduce you to, you may already know about it, I was so happy because not everybody wants to make their own date paste for cooking and baking and eating. But before I introduce you to today's guest, who is Melissa Bartow, who is the CEO of Wanna Date. She actually was on Shark Tank. It's such a great story she's going to tell you. I want to show you just a 1-minute clip. Wow, that was just a fabulous, fabulous presentation. Please welcome to the show, Melissa Bartow. You are really adorable and your arms are incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, that was it. You know, you seem so poised, and I would give you money. I thought that presentation was fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah, I practiced that pitch like I could do it in my sleep by the time I got in the actual tank to say it. So I was pumped. Yeah.
Were you nervous at all?
I like to tell people I felt like a quarterback, like walking onto the field for the Super Bowl. So it's not really nerves. It's more like you're amped up with adrenaline at that point that you're ready to either totally blank or just go 100 miles an hour. And I was the latter.
Great. You know, I want to know your story in great detail, Melissa, but I also know that you're preparing a recipe that it has to bake for about 20 minutes. So why don't we jump into the recipe and then we'll ask you lots of questions about this experience and about your product.
Yeah, we have a ton of recipes, sweet and savory, dinner, desserts, you name it, on eatwannadate.com, our website. And I went ahead and pulled one of my favorite ones, which is a chocolate date cake recipe. And it's vegan, really easy. There's not a lot of ingredients at all. And I started prepping it already. The dry half contains almond flour. I don't know if you have the full recipe pulled up, but it's 2 cups of almond flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, pinch of salt, and cocoa powder, just a 1/3 cup. And I already have that mixed in here. And then for the wet ingredients, it's 2 mashed bananas, 1/3 cup of date spread, a teaspoon of vanilla, and then I'm gonna go ahead and mix in 1/3 cup of pumpkin as well. And that makes up all the wet side of things.
Your website is great. I looked at it and there's so many amazing recipes. I love, you have a new carrot cake recipe that's vegan, and you had a banana sushi recipe. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we do some fun stuff. One really cool one that seems to be everyone's favorite is the date spread actually freezes into fudge. So the same way when you put bananas into the freezer and it kind of turns into a hard but still soft, chewable, nice cream texture, date spread does the exact same thing. So if you put date spread with bananas or in an ice tray overnight and take it out, it's straight up you can bite into it like fudgy nice cream, and it's amazing. So that's another really awesome thing. And we have tons of recipes about that. But for the bread itself, or the cake itself, this is the wet part. It's just the banana, the pumpkin, and 1/3 cup of chocolate date spread. But you could always substitute any flavor in any recipe. Pumpkin instead. But I went with chocolate for this one. It's only 25 calories per serving. It's oil-free, dairy-free, delicious. So gotta love that.
I gotta ask you, on the Shark Tank, you were wearing a tank top. Your arms are really toned.
Technically you could say it's part genetics, but thank you.
Yeah. You look great. You're really young, if you don't mind me asking. You're in your early 20s, right?
Yeah, I'm 24 now. I was 22 when I was on Shark Tank.
Wow, that is so cool. I just am so impressed with people that start their own companies, and wow, look at you getting it done at such a young age.
Yeah, I mean, I've been into health and fitness my whole life. Like, I grew up playing basketball and playing tons of sports. I have brothers and stuff, so I was always into athletics. But it wasn't really until I went off to college, which was to NYU, that I really got into like the health side of it. I'm originally from Kennesaw, Georgia, and so when I went to New York City, I was just like, "Whoa!" When I saw my first Whole Foods market and juice press and all that kind of stuff. And this was back in 2015 was when I went to school, so veganism was like kind of trendy at the time. Like that was when Instagram was like at its prime height. Everyone had an account by then. Vegan Instagrammers and influencers were all the rage. And I remember seeing dates like all over the place on Instagram and thinking like, huh, all these like pretty vegan influencer girls are eating dates. And like I just saw, like RX bars and date syrups kind of like starting to peak up here and there in New York. Like, there's must be something to it with these dates. And then I tried them for the first time and like was blown away. I mean, I hadn't even seen a date like growing up, let alone eaten one. So I was shocked and thought, where have these been my whole life? They taste like glazed donut holes, in my opinion. I'm obsessed. And I was eating them all the time, working at a smoothie and acai bowl shop. And so they were fresh on my mind. And I thought, I mean, that place I worked at, like they sweetened stuff with added sugar and hid it. And it kind of drove me nuts. And they didn't have dates on anything in the whole menu. And it blew my mind because they had so much other stuff like Nutella, white chocolate, pumpkin butter, almond butter, apple butter. I was like, there has to be some kind of date butter. I mean, they have everything else, but date butter, no, they didn't. And I tried Googling it and looking for one, and it didn't exist.
Right.
So that was kind of how I got started.
And I've been using dates exclusively as my sweetener, both as a person that eats sweet things and as a pastry chef for close to 20 years. And back in the day, they didn't even have date syrup, except if from the Middle East. And now companies are making date syrup. But like you say, date paste, which you can make, but most people are too lazy. Right, there wasn't one out there.
Yeah, even date paste too is like, because that was what I did find when I tried Googling, it was date paste. And even that, like, it's still super tough.
Yeah.
And like, you kind of have to still process it down and whatnot. So I was like, nah, this isn't what I mean. Like, I want a spread, like a butter, like peanut butter. I mean, Pinterest people were doing it, saying like, take, homemade date paste and blend it with water and whatever. So that was when I first tried it, literally in my dorm room. I like got a food processor off Amazon and some dates from Whole Foods, cinnamon, and I mean, I'm not like a food scientist, so the recipe today is basically the same. Like, it just dates, water, and flavors blended up, and it just naturally tastes amazing. It doesn't need anything else.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite date? I live in India, which is like the date capital of the United States. And we actually have a whole festival, not during the pandemic, but devoted to dates. And I forget the name of the date. There's one date that actually just tastes like eating caramels. I can't remember, with an H.
We don't have many options in the United States. I mean, the date spreads are made with deglet nor dates. And then you see medjooled dates everywhere. So I love both of those. The medjooled ones come with a pit and they're way more like laborious to eat, so they're fun to eat. I love them, but we use deglet for the sake of the spreads. I've tried a few others because in New York they do have some cool markets like bulk food stores that give you a ton of options. But yeah, one day I definitely want to go to like California where they're grown and like see a ranch and stuff.
Oh my God, there's one right a block away. I live right near Shields Date Farm. You could take a tour. It's
oh, you
cool.
Do it?
So it's pretty
I'm
cool.
so jealous.
I like the Deglet Nor in general because I find them very consistent and they're affordable. Like you can get organic ones at Costco at very reasonable prices. But like you say, medjools are very, very sweet and soft. But in general, Deglet Nor is my go-to date.
Yeah, they're so soft and chewy. It's just like addicting. I love them so much.
Yeah. That Tiffany's saying it's the Bari date that I was talking about that tastes like caramel. And Tiffany, who's watching, I wanted to know, and before you answer, can I guess which spread is your most popular? If it's got to be chocolate, right? No, aren't people just crazy about chocolate?
It's chocolate.
I was gonna say, because that's what I'm, chocolate's one of the most craved foods on all the lists, so I figured it would have to be.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
chocolate's the best seller, but the honest truth, like if everyone were to taste every flavor, I'm very confident that cinnamon ends up being like the taste test winner.
That's interesting. Well, I've used the pumpkin one. I'll link to it, a video I did making some muffins with it, and it was excellent. So that was good. And I actually made a cute little recipe here, and you can use any flavor of your date paste. I'll just show them. I don't have the original. I mean, I have it, but I don't have it in a jar. So here's the vanilla, and here's the chocolate. This one's the chocolate, guys. And then this is the pumpkin spice right here. The color helps you identify them. And here is the cinnamon. And what I love to do is to take whatever flavor you want, take your favorite fruit. In this case, I have strawberries, and you just dip it, whether it's a strawberry or an apple, and you just dip it in the date spread and then roll it into something, hemp seeds, cacao nibs. In this case, I used a low-fat coconut, and then you have a really delicious sweet treat that like anybody can make.
Yeah, and we're coming out with a new product. It's called Date Dough. So basically, it's another easy treat I was making for myself and decided to sell it. It was just, I would take half a cup of coconut flour, half a cup of almond flour at night, like just quick out of my fridge or pantry into a bowl, put a scoop of date spread in it and mix it. And it would turn into like, because like the texture of the flour is like grounded nutty with a little date spread and it has the water and flavor. It would turn into like a dough, like hummus dough kind of texture mix, and I would eat that all the time and thought this would be so cool. Like, date dough, it's such a good recipe that people love it on Instagram. How could I sell it? And I was like, oh, I know, I'll just sell it as the dry mix with ground dates and the flavor in it. So now it's a ground powder, and they just have to add the water themselves and mix it, and you get edible date dough. So we're literally launching that at the end of this month on our website.
That's great. Did you put your cake in the oven yet?
Going in now.
Nice. We have some questions. Have you ever tried fresh dates before they are dried? I actually did recently. I went to a Syrian store and I just wasn't crazy about them. They were kind of sour and wasn't my jam.
What do you mean before they're dried?
I mean, there's different kinds of date. Like, I think it depends on how long they stay on the tree. But like the date, there's a fruit date that kind of how like grapes look one way, and then when they're dried, they become raisins. Well, there's certain types of dates that are more like the grape before they're the way we see them. And I think that's what he's referring to. You can often find them in ethnic markets like Middle Eastern markets or Israeli markets. So they don't taste anything like what we're used to, the chewy candy kind of, that kind of thing.
I haven't had that actually. I mean, I've had, I guess you could call them like stale dates where, but you've left them in jeweled dates over the course of a couple of weeks. You've had them and they lose their juiciness and they taste dry. But yeah.
Or you've had a bad day. That is so amazing that you accomplished that in Shark Tank. And that was so, did you think you were going to get the deal? Were you pretty confident?
Yeah, like going into it, I was so confident in my product and my pitch, and the spreads taste so good. Things started going downhill, and I don't know, being in the tank is weird. You're in there for like 30 minutes maybe. Feels like 2 seconds. And I mean, you have years of business and branding and numbers and all this stuff behind you, and just to be in there for such a short period of time, and they're literally seeing you for the first time as you walk through those doors. Like, they don't know who's coming through, they don't know what the brand is coming in. So they're started from scratch when they see a company. They don't know how many Instagram followers they have. They don't know anything other than what they ask them then and there. So I remember being in there, and like the sharks kind of talk over each other a lot. There's a lot of just them talking to each other about the product. And I'm like, hey, you can ask me. And yeah, it's just chaos in the tank. So being in there, you feel like there's so much you wish you said when you leave, and you're like trying to process it. But yeah, I remember just like once one of them started going out, it was like just a downhill slide from there. But then Mark came around at the end, which is awesome.
Nice. Tiffany says she just ordered 4 jars. And guys, Melissa's been so generous to give us a 10% discount code, which I've posted in the chat in the show notes. So be sure to use that if you'd like 10% off. And let's see, I'm looking for some other questions in the chat. Did you have to audition just to be on Shark Tank?
The way I did it was I applied on their website. You could apply year round anytime. So pretty much the day I launched my website and had no sales, I applied as soon as I had a company. And I think I got a call randomly one night from a producer like 6 months later. So they're always like on the lookout for companies. They hold open auditions and I was going to go to one, but they ended up calling me like about a month before they were coming to New York. So I got a call and spent about 4 months from there going through a process of like weekly like pitching. Every week they would ask me for like more and more business documents and like due diligence things. And yeah, I think it took about 4 months of that before they finally said like, okay, on this day you're gonna fly out to California and like you're gonna pitch this week. And I was like, yes.
That's fantastic. So you actually started the company first. So you were going to do it with or without him, in other words.
Without the what?
I mean, you were going to do this with or without the support of anybody on Shark Tank.
Oh, yeah. I started my company and launched my website in October or August of 2018. And I ended up filming in California on Shark Tank in June of 2019. So I'd been in business for like 6 months at that point.
Nice. Here's a question from Chris. Are dates good for your digestion?
Yeah, they are. Good fiber.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is not eating sugar is also good for your digestion.
Yeah. I mean, anytime I just eat anything that's like whole foods, plant-based, I seem to be great. I mean, the problems end up being when you have the weird, not actual food ingredients in like packaged stuff, like weird gums and whatevers. That's where I get messed up. Or the fake, like the non-nutritive added sugars, like
the fake ones like stevia and erythritol and xylitol.
Yeah, those is when things can start getting weird. But I never hesitate when it comes to like fruit or something real and natural. It's always great.
Absolutely. I think, I host a summit based on GI health, and all the doctors say that all those 0-calorie and fake sugars are so bad for your gut and your microbiome. But like you say, dates are a whole natural food. They have fiber and water and vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals, antioxidants, micronutrients. Are there going to be any new flavors? Not that 5 isn't enough of this wonderful product.
Well, we are pretty set with this year and launching the date doughs, but next year we're planning to phase out pumpkin spice with something new that's gonna be revealed later in 2020. But yeah, new flavor.
Oh no, I can't imagine what it is. But would pumpkin spice maybe reappear occasionally at the holidays?
Yeah, pumpkin spice would basically phase out after the holidays. It will get replaced by this one for the duration of 2020, and then pumpkin spice will of course make its debut back in the fall. And then from there we'll do more hopefully as well, like able to do a Christmas one next year and whatnot. So 2020 we have exciting year of new date spreads.
A gingerbread date spread would be amazing.
I know.
Oh my God, that would be so great. Well, yeah, how much time do you actually spend in the kitchen, or is most of what you do more like being the CEO and doing that kind of stuff?
Well, it's not a lot of like R&D in the kitchen because of how simple the breads and the doughs are. They're all like 4 ingredients. It's so simple. So that's nice, but I spend a lot of time in the kitchen when it comes to like recipe creation, doing social media stuff, YouTube. I have a channel as well with tons of recipes. So lots of time is ultimately spent in the kitchen. Plus I'm a foodie and I'm always making stuff from scratch and sharing it. So I'm here like daily.
Well, I've looked at all the social media sites, and we did post them in the show notes. And like I say, your website's beautiful, guys. You can get so many recipes there. I know you're pro date, but were you or are you like an anti-sugar advocate, as so many of the doctors that I interview on this show are?
No, I don't consider fruit sugar bad at all.
No, I mean,
at
real sugar. Like, because you came to this, it sounds like, because you love dates, not so much because you hated sugar.
Oh, I don't eat added sugar, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
I
are,
distinguish real sugar and added sugar, black and white. I don't touch added sugar at all. I gave it up back when I started. That was why I started this company, was I read the label on everything I eat. And I started working at this smoothie and acai bowl shop. And the day I got there, I was gonna make my like free acai bowl for lunch, and I looked at the acai we were serving and read the label, and it had like added corn syrup or cane syrup in it. And I was like, I can't eat this. And I like looked at the milks we were using, and like we were blending with added sugar coconut milk, and I was like, I can't use this milk. And I was like so annoyed. I'm looking at the granola they use there, and it's all added sugar in it. I'm like, what the heck? I just came here to get free food on shift, and I can't eat any of this. So I'm like trying to blend like a bataya bowl with water and like fruit only. And I'm looking at the toppings, and they all have added sugar, and I was just putting berries on it. So yeah, I just spent a lot of time there being really frustrated with that personally. And then more so frustrated as the customers were coming in and they don't read the labels on what we sell. They can't. So they're ordering their acai bowl with the granola and all these toppings. And I could tell they just came from like a yoga class or the gym. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm serving it, like, do they know how much added sugar is in this healthy treat they're seeking or think they're seeking? Like, it drove me nuts and insane, and like just revealed me to even more against how against added sugar I was, because now I understood like in the food industry it's hidden in everything and we don't even know. And it made me like look out for it more so when I went to restaurants, and I read the label on absolutely everything. And I haven't had added sugar in years. Like,
Yeah.
I did a Whole30 like cleanse 2 years ago and never looked back.
Great. That's amazing. So Sonia, who's watching live, says, can small kids eat dates? Well, they certainly can eat the date spread. And I would imagine if they have teeth, they could eat dates.
Yeah, totally. I would say be careful with like the dates potentially having pits, meaning the date spread's actually safer. Because like even when you buy pitted dates, you still find like one or two in a bag that have a pit, and like the kid might not know like to spit it out. So either check your pits, check for pits, or yeah, totally eat the date spreads. The kids love them.
Yeah, well, that's why the date spread would even be better. And it would be so great to have a kid and not expose it to sugar, him or her to sugar at such a young age.
Oh yeah, totally. Don't get them hooked young.
Who, are they, once opened, are they best refrigerated?
Yeah, they have to be refrigerated after opening.
And
Not like a jam.
what is the shelf life before opening?
Oh, if they're sealed shut, they stay in the pantry for like 12 months. Yeah, shelf stable, and just until once you open it, you just keep it in the fridge.
That's great. Elizabeth says, have you ever used date syrup for anything?
Before starting the company, like that was what I did use, was date syrups. I would put it on pancakes sometimes, but it has like a different taste. It's hard to explain. It's more like tart.
It's more concentrated. So
Yeah.
I think date taste is more subtle and more.
Yeah. It's definitely more concentrated. It's hard to explain, but it definitely has like an acquired kind of taste, which I like but don't love.
Yeah,
So
it's more like,
I don't have date
it's almost more like molasses, or it's like deeper. I know what you're saying exactly.
Yeah, it's deeper.
Yeah. Mandy says you look like you're in very good shape. Do you exercise a lot?
Yeah, I live the healthy fitness lifestyle. I love running. I love yoga. I do everything. I'm game. If you said let's go kickboxing, I'd be like, let's go. I love to work out. Energy breeds energy, I like to say.
Are you in touch with the people from the acai shop? Do they know of your success?
I don't know like the owners. I'm tight with my managers and like my ex coworkers from there. They're all in New York, and whenever I'm back there, we all hang out. Yeah, they're all super happy about it, and they like see how far it's come, and they love it.
How's your family feel about this? I bet they're very proud of you.
Yes, they are very proud. My family doesn't eat as healthy as I do, so I mean, they like see me making this stuff, and they're like, "What are you doing?" But my dad eats the cinnamon dates bread in his oatmeal every single morning. He has Crohn's disease, so it's actually been like a huge help in his life, and like he's really overhauled his diet a lot over the course of the years. My brothers, they think it's cool too. Mostly people like their friends and stuff think it's cool.
Are you at the point where you're getting recognized when you go out?
Whenever I'm in New York, I get recognized a lot. Yeah, like I was just there for the last month and I probably had maybe 7 times people were like, "You're on a date." And I'm like, "Hi."
That's great. That's great. What did you study in college, Melissa?
I went to NYU at the Gallatin School of Individualized Study, where you like make your own major and course of study. So I did the art of entrepreneurship and took a lot of philosophy, psychology, and marketing classes there.
That is good. I was wondering if anything you learned helped you not create the product, but launch the product.
Yeah, I kind of got to like build my own course of study. Basically, like I had to have, math and science and like certain numbers of various credits, but I was able to choose the classes that were fulfilling those credits. So, yeah, like for my math and science credit, I took computer, like intro to computer coding, and that helped when I was making my first website. So, since I started the company while I was a junior there, I really like took advantage of like trying to incorporate Wanna Date into as much of my coursework as I could. So I was doing both at the same time.
That's neat. So Lissa says, when in 2022 does the new flavor come out? Do we have a date?
We don't have a date launch on the calendar yet, but I would say keep a big close eye out around Valentine's Day. Not so ironically.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm dying to know. I mean, I have a couple ideas in my head. Coffee, banana. I'm just trying to run through my head. Hazelnut.
I know what the flavor is. You guys will love it. It tastes so good too. Yeah, but like we're focusing on the date dough launch right now, so like that's like what we're hyping, and I don't want to like, but the new flavor will be very much promoted like post holidays. So
well, maybe you could come back on the show and we'll do a recipe with that flavor when it's ready.
Yes, for sure.
That would be great. And yeah, I just saw the carrot cake recipe from yesterday and that one looked amazing.
Yeah, I love carrot cakes actually, and I love vegan cream cheeses so much. I don't eat dairy, so like I had like a weird little phase where I was obsessed with vegan cream cheese. And actually, if you put dates and cream cheese together, it's amazing. So that was when I was like, I wonder. And I started doing carrot cakes with date spread and vegan cream cheese, and it's phenomenal. And with like walnuts added to it, like, yeah, so good. I'm actually going to check on our cake.
Perfect. I wish more people were as passionate about the sugar message as you, especially at a young age. I've been preaching it for almost 20 years. As a matter of fact, I'll be interviewing Dr. Robert Lustig on this channel at the end of the month. And he's the one that did The Bitter Truth on YouTube, had 12 million views because, I mean, dates, anything people can do with sugar, we can do with dates. So I don't understand the resistance other than the sugar, the people that make sugar would not like the fact that we'd stop eating sugar. That would not be good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm like one of those people who's determined to figure anything out, and like I can make a healthy alternative for anything. And I mean, back when I was starting this company, that was kind of when like Halo Top became a big deal and other like healthy alternatives. It was really when like the food industry started like making a shift to where you could find a healthy alternative for most things. Like that I was eating Halo Top ice cream, Birch Bender's pancake mix, like I was starting to have all Banza pasta. Like I was starting to be eating a good version of pretty much anything. And what seemed to be missing was like more chocolate and like spread options along the dessert way. And that was when I thought of date spread and like date sweetened things.
I love it. I even wrote where it is. I wrote a book called A Date with Dessert. It's a dessert cookbook with just dates, date paste, and date syrup. Maybe I can incorporate one of yours, and I'm updating it from an ebook to a hard copy. I know it's in some stores. I saw it in one Whole Foods. I think it's in some stores, but not in all stores yet, right?
Yeah, we kind of do like direct stores with Whole Foods. We're not like nationally distributed or anything specific regionally wise, so I can't like say yes we're in your local Whole Foods, but we have a store locator on our website that would like if you type in your location, it'll let you know the nearest place near you, whether it's a Whole Foods, an independent store, retailer, boutique, or whatnot. We definitely have all that, and we have the cake ready as well.
Nice. And that was pretty easy.
Yeah, super easy. And I baked for 20 minutes there, so not too shabby.
That's not long. Have you ever used those silicone baking dishes? I love those because it just pops right out.
I use the cupcake ones. I don't know if there's like I should look for a bigger cake one, but yeah, I love the little cupcake ones.
Yeah, that's so easy because I don't use oil either in my diet in addition to sugar, and it makes them pop right out.
Yeah, I love that you don't use oil either. That's a big thing too.
Thank you. Wow. Well, we're kindred spirits. I'm so glad that you agreed to do this because I know when we first met, you were not able to. You were too busy. So really appreciate you coming on. And I hope people will try the product because, again, you can use the store locator to see if it's near you. But if not, she's giving us 10% off. And here's again the flavors. There's chocolate and vanilla. This would be great on. I love making ice cream out of just bananas,
Yeah.
in my champion juicer, and this stuff would be amazing on it. And then right now there is vanilla and caramel, and there's also the plain. But I like the flavors because I can make it plain myself, but the flavors, that's really something.
Yeah, the flavors are special for sure. I mean, and when you have, let alone the healthy cinnamon spread that's only 25 cal, like there's not even like cinnamon spreads out there. So cinnamon, the pumpkin spice, it's hard to explain what they taste like. They're so unique. I say the cinnamon tastes like the inside of cinnamon roll filling, literally. The pumpkin spice spread is not like pumpkin butter at all. It's sweet because of the dates, and then it has all those rich pumpkin spice, nutmeg, cloves kind of flavoring in there. It smells like a candle when you open the jar. It's the best. And then chocolate's kind of more self-explanatory, and so is vanilla, but they're all delicious. And it's just more a matter of like which one is your favorite.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being an anti-sugar advocate and for creating such a wonderful vegan product that's healthy and very few ingredients. And I really appreciate the 10% discount. And I hope you will come back before Valentine's Day to introduce your new flavor to my audience. And I hope everybody will give this wonderful product a try.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you for having me so much.